subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
News that we've just received into our newsroom. So we're getting this information from multiple sources, both with Mayor Bowser and with MPD, telling us that as of 6 o'clock this evening, they strongly believe, sources both within the mayor's office and within Metro Police Department, that President Trump, come tomorrow, will deploy the National Guard along the streets of D.C. That is the information that is now coming into our newsroom about what is likely to happen tomorrow at that news conference. That, again, the president expected to deploy the National Guard, the D.C. National Guard, in and around Washington. This, from what we're being told at this point, has never happened before and would mark a significant turn in events. But no doubt, the continuation of what has been several days of an escalation by the White House to officials in D.C. about complaints regarding crime, and even most recently, as we heard just a minute ago, about the homeless encampments that we've seen in and around the city as well.
All right, what's up, man? We're in the building. We are here. We are here, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for you. We are happy late put it in. Much respect to you guys. Much respect, much love and respect to you. We are here, ladies and gentlemen, and give me a retweet. Let everybody know that we are indeed live, ready to chop it up as we do, my good people. And before we get everything cracking like we needed to crack, I got to do a real quick roll call. Shout out to some of the regulars in here. Real quick. I ain't going to take too long. I see Zuri Ali. I see Panamera. I see King Troy. I see Monisha, FBA Chuck, Roger, Rhonda, Maroc, Ani Asaru, Derek, Trinity, Miss Skyline, Cousin Jerry, Ernez, Rashonda, Brother Ryan Locks, and we have the Tethanator in the building. Much respect to you guys. Much respect to you. A lot of stuff we got to touch on. I hope you guys checked out my broadcast on my my YouTube channel. And y'all need to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you're staying subscribed, because a lot of people say that they get unsubscribed automatically. My YouTube channel should have had well over 1 million subscribers, but YouTube play these little janky games with my subscribership. So make sure that you are subscribed to the Tariq Radio YouTube channel. What's up, brother? Mikal in the building. Much respect. But listen, now there's a press conference that President Trump is going to be having later today, and many people believe that he's going to deploy some National Guards out there in D.C. There was another incident where they said there was 100 black youths running around in the streets. So this seems like something that was manufactured and orchestrated. It just looks real weird and contrived. So, looked like they manufactured something to justify getting this National Guard situation popping. But a lot of insiders are saying that Trump is going to deploy the National Guard on the streets of Washington, D.C. So that's going to be interesting. And like I said, I did a broadcast about this a few days ago. They're going to do it under the guise of, cleaning up crime and basically getting the homeless away from the Capitol. This is what they're talking about. They are talking about moving homeless people to another area, relocating them. There's no details, so possibly he'll give some details in this press conference. So this is what I'm thinking he's going to be talking about: moving these homeless people and then doing something about the, quote, criminals. So that's going to be interesting. But for right now, people are saying that there's a possibility that they're going to immediately deploy hundreds of National Guard troops to D.C. to, quote unquote, address crime and homelessness, though the exact number is not really out there yet. This is speculation. And unlike other states, see, the president directly controls DC. They control the National Guard. See, it's not other cities, you got to go through a whole process. But yeah, you have direct control over DC. Um, and the whole targeting criminals thing. He said Trump put on something on Truth Social. He's like, yeah, you don't have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. So the policies or the criteria for identifying and prosecuting these individuals, that's not clear. But yeah, they're doing this whole crime control narrative. Trump is talking about crime is out of control. Citing that incident that happened with this Doge staffer, this Edward Korestein, as the catalyst for it. And Trump is talking about harsh penalties and prosecuting minors as young as 14 as adults for serious crimes and all that. So it's interesting to see how this thing is going to play out. Um, Even after that whole assault, quote unquote, of that Korestein guy, which looked contrived itself, Trump ordered an increase in federal law enforcement presence with about 450 officers deployed across DC. This was a few days ago. And I think some of the crimes they were trying to target were unlicensed pistol carrying and driving on suspended licenses. So I want to hear what his measures to stop all of this violent crime in Washington is going to be about. Some people have a lot of legal authority concerns. The White House, they clarified that the legal basis for evicting the homeless people, um, they haven't clarified it. They really haven't clarified a legal basis and how they're going to do it. So that's going to be interesting to see. And I know there's some opposition from the local officials in DC. I think Mayor Bowser has kind of disputed Trump's claims, talking about, well, there's a 26% drop in violent crimes and a 7% decrease in overall crimes in the first 7 months of 2025 compared to last year. So, she's arguing that the city's not experiencing a crime spike, and she's questioning the efficiency of the National Guard. And, there's like damn near 4,000 homeless people in DC. And, they got shelters and transitional housing. So a lot of them are in the homeless shelters and places like that. So people are trying to figure out where he's going to locate these people and how that's going to be implemented. And there's broader federalization threats. Trump is suggested federalizing DC and taking control of DC and taking control of the police for up to 48 hours. So, and that's going to be under that 1973 DC Home Rule Act, citing crime and cleanliness issues. So, permanent control that would require congressional action, and that already faces resistance from certain people in Congress already. So, this is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. There's going to be blowback. I would, if they were to try to put the National Guard out here on the streets of DC. The presence of National Guards, that signals a shift from the traditional policing to a military style presence. And that changes the psychological relationship between the public and law enforcement. So I want y'all to understand that just the optics of that, that's a sign of people being occupied, not that you're being protected. So that can intimidate the people there. That creates an environment where dissent is viewed as a security threat, rather than a democratic right. Because now are they going to use these people on folks protesting? DC, a lot of people protest out there. So are they going to use these National Guards people on the protesters? So people are not going to be able to protest out there. Um, People will they be able to assemble publicly? Yeah, because the National Guard presence like that will definitely be used to control or restrict or suppress any kind of demonstration. So, will that set a precedent for curtailing First Amendment rights under the guise of maintaining order? Especially during these politically charged times. You see, and that will create strained civil and military boundaries. The U.S. traditionally tries to avoid using military forces for domestic policing, due to concerns of that authoritarian overreach over here. So, using the National Guard, that blurs the lines to a certain degree, and that'll normalize the idea that the military can be called on to handle civilian matters. So, my DC people, you got to really keep your eyes open on this, because this will impact, if they put the National Guard out there, that's going to impact daily life, local economy. Just imagine you're gonna have armed checkpoints and roadblocks and possibly curfews, and that's going to disrupt local business, transportation, tourism. Those are critical parts of DC's economy. It'll create delays for workers and residents moving through the city. So, the message is, a lot of people look at it like the messaging is going to be about political control, not public safety. A lot of people might think the deployment could be interpreted less as a safety measure and more like a political statement, especially if it coincides with some kind of controversial legislation. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how this play out. But, let's chop up with the family. Let me chop it up with you guys. Y'all raise your hand if you're ready to get on. Ladies and gentlemen, raise your hands. Let me chop it up with you. Let's get Sud JG in the building. Sud JG. Sud JG. What's up, Sud JG? Unmute your mic if you can. And while we're waiting on Sud JG, Gia, you ready?
I am ready, Tariq.
Hey Gia, how are you, ma'am?
Oh, thank you so much. Really powerful show tonight. Thank you. I have
Thank
a
you.
quick question for you,
Yes, ma'am.
that I really want to dig into, and that is around the argument of FBA. And
Okay.
I wanted to get your thoughts on anchoring the argument. Like, I've read through the Trump versus Casa decision, going back to it, in terms of the Supreme Court justice who wrote the majority opinion, and how she did anchor it. Justice Amy Coney Barrett anchored it within lineage base, and basically used foundational Black Americans. Even though she didn't use that language, she used it that we are the only group of people that don't have a dual allegiance.
Right.
So, my question to you is, I believe that that opens up a little bit of a floodgate to be able to make the argument and make them double down on it. If you really look at the structure of their argument from the conservative judges, and my question is then, is there a way to not just anchor on the 14th Amendment with Trump versus Casa, but even in a way the students of fair admissions with the Harvard decision, to then be able to make the argument of lineage more, being able to draw it in more? And if we do win that, then our FBAs, will we get the same protection, or would it be a different protection of the technicalities that civil rights have currently into law? I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Okay, thank you, dear. Very good talking points there. Yeah, we should get very specific protections for us, because we've never had that and we've been specifically targeted. We have to get very, very, very specific protections, not nothing broad, because see, they do this broad thing. Well, all people, regardless of race, and regardless of creed, everybody should be protected. Yeah, it has to be very, very um, specific to us, just like they did with Asians. See, like we kept talking about we need a hate crime. You had big fat ass rolling and people like that. You got one, baby. Civil Rights Act, it covers everybody. And no, because what happens is, okay, if it covered everybody, why did Asians get a specific one? And that COVID thing, they try to talk around that and all that. That was for Asians. They try to sit up here and lie to you. That COVID crime bill thing, that was for Asians. In that crime bill, they actually denounced anti-Asian hate crimes. They denounced it. They've never denounced anti-Black crimes. They've never denounced it. See, that's very important. We need a crime bill where they specifically say, we, the United States government, we condemn any and all hate crimes against foundational Black Americans. It need to be worded just like that. You understand? It needs to be worded just like that. And they've been skirting around that issue for a long time. You know why? Because see, if they word it like that, if they're very specific, then we won't have incidents like we had in Cincinnati, ladies and gentlemen, because now a white man running up using the N-word, slapping a Black person, that is a hate crime. That is a very specific hate crime if you have a crime bill for that. So when we stomp them the hell out, we're going to be enforcing the law. So now they won't be able to target us for defending ourselves against a damn hate crime. That's why they're so vague, because if we try to defend ourselves from it, we get locked up. Asians don't go to jail for defending themselves. None of these other groups go to jail for defending themselves against a damn hate crime. We're the only people who go to jail for defending ourselves from a hate crime. That's why we should have stopped all that vague nonsense a long time ago and got very, very specific. You see, we got to get very, very specific. And we're getting there where everybody just got to remain on code about it. Everybody has to remain on code and keep delineating. Delineate harder. Don't let no naysayers throw you off. They love to come around us splaining and trying to dismiss our lineage, trying to remix it. No, we have to be the defining people of what the lineage is. And the lineage is foundational Black American. Foundational Black American means 43 million plus Black people in America whose lineage and ethnicity traces back to the founding of this country. That's what it is. And then the tether class will come with, nigga, the government don't recognize FBA. Listen, lineages and ethnicities don't need government recognition to be real. Listen, the government didn't recognize Hispanic until what, 1970. That don't mean Hispanics didn't exist. They existed. You understand? So a lot of ethnic designations start among people themselves and then later get formal acknowledgement. Sometimes never, but it still doesn't change what that group is. That don't make them illegitimate. We're still an ethnic group. And some people say, well, that's the FBA term is new. No. A lot of ethnic identities adopt new terminology to basically accurately reflect their history or to reject imposed labels. For example, the term African American, that didn't get mainstream use until the damn 80s. Now, people point out that it was in a book in the 1700s. It was in one book. That shit didn't mean nothing. Black folks were not calling themselves no damn African American in the 18th century, 19th century, and much of the 20th century. That shit didn't start becoming mainstream until 1988. You understand? Black people were never identifying themselves as that. One or two people mention it here and there, but that was never a mainstream term until the 80s, the late 80s. But the people existed for centuries. So the age of the term, that has nothing to do with the legitimacy of the people it describes. The lineage predates the label. You see? It's all about being accurate, because the thing is, we keep getting these vague ass terms imposed on us. Yeah. African American was a vague term imposed on us. Then they gave us colored. That was imposed on us. There's a lot of people who are colored, you see, but We made sure that we had a very, very specific term that 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 represented what we are as a lineage that other people can't latch on to, and that's fine. That is perfectly fine. That's why people always talking about how divisive stuff is. You guys divisive. Yes, yeah. Every delineation is divisive. It's supposed to be divisive. You're supposed to recognize your specific lineage group. You're supposed well, that's not to hate on anybody. Yeah, that's not to hate on anybody. But yeah, you're supposed to be divisive when it comes to giving your group recognition, your lineage recognition. You're supposed to distinguish yourself for a reason. Yeah, yeah. Divisiveness ain't bad. We have a unique history. Jamaicans have a unique history. Haitians have a unique history. If they recognize their Haitian lineage, that's divisive, but it's not disrespectful. That's fine. We don't mind you dividing yourself and saying, hey, we're gonna celebrate this unique history that's unique to us. Fine. When we say we're going to do some things unique for our history, all of a sudden it's divisive. We hate everybody. Yeah, just like the white man, the CIA set you niggas up. It becomes this dumbass conspiracy that you don't believe. Y'all just be saying shit. It becomes this stupid, goofy ass nonsense. That's because people can't latch on to our shit. Because see, our lineage is the only one that feeds every damn body. Everybody latches on to us. And the thing is, us delineating, we dried up a lot of the scams. Can we be real? We done dried up a lot of scams out here, family. We done dried up the um, Pan African scams. We done dried a lot of them up. Let's be real. All them Pan African scams are dried up right now. That's why they're mad. That's why the Pan Africans are mad. All of that um, buy a package tour to Africa stuff and um, slave dungeon tours. That's kind of drying up. You know, guilt tripping foundational Black Americans into sending money to some of these questionable ass overseas projects. Yeah, that's drying up. That's drying up. Notice all of the Pan Africans. They struggling right now. Yeah, that's drying up everything. The Moorish Science Temple scams are drying up. All of that selling fake sovereign citizen paperwork and fake land claims and pseudo legal advice to us. This renaissance has kind of educated people on how these scams are tied to con artists for real. So that cuts into their whole recruitment pool. Yeah. And it also shuts down that old N Cobra fake reparations scam. Yeah, that whole N Cobra narc shit where reparations should be for everybody Black on the planet, and we should go to Africa to get some. Our reparations should be something. What I don't know what their whole thing is. The reparations should be you should be sent to Africa. Some shit I don't even know where they coming from with reparations. Like reparations shouldn't be money. We should be able to go back to the motherland, and that's going to be our reparations. That's what the hell. So that dries that whole con game up. Okay, the whole immigrant political gatekeeping that's being challenged. That's drying up. Having these non-FBA operatives position themselves as Black leaders, quote unquote, so they can funnel resources and influence away from us. That's drying up. So that made lineage based leadership the standard. You understand? Yeah, we want people from our lineage representing issues that affect our lineage. That's why we're getting these folks trying to get them off these reparations task force. Every time there's a reparations task force, you got some non-FBAs on there crashing everything out. Uh, This is drying up a lot of the cultural appropriation for profit. That's drying some of that up. All of these FBA, these non-FBAs who've been monetizing our culture, music, slang, fashion, history, while trying to erase the originators. Yeah. So yeah, we've documented and we've reclaimed all of our contributions. So that's making it harder for a lot of the outsiders to profit unchecked and then erase us in the process. See, we didn't stop that stuff. The whole academic and nonprofit scams, that's being looked at under the magnifying glass right now. I know a lot of these academics who do these Pan-African studies and all of that stuff. And that's kind of drying up, misrepresenting our history and getting grants and all that. See, we're starting to control our own narrative. See, a lot of these other hustles, they're losing credibility, they're losing funding. All these fake ancestry, all of all of that shit where we got to do some DNA ancestry that some tribal affiliation, some Igbo, Yoruba, Zulu tribe, and all of those little scams are drying up too. All that's drying up. All those little fake genealogical services selling us fake tribal affiliations and royal African bloodline. That's drying up. That's drying up too. Ain't nobody trying to hear none of that shit. Let's be real. That's why you look at folks who's always whining about foundational Black Americans. It's one of them, somebody who had their own scam. They're always projecting some scam on us, by the way. Whenever somebody's trying to, Tariq, he's making money scamming with FBA. That's a projection. We don't make no money doing shit. That's a projection. Yeah, no, your scams are drying up. Yeah? Your scams are drying up. You ain't fooling nobody. So that's why they're upset. All them little scams and hustles on us being generic Africans, that shit we done dried up a whole bunch of shit. Yeah, a lot. That's why these folks are so desperate and mad. They're hungry. They're not making no money no more. They're hungry. Yeah? These people are starving right now. Let's get Raphael in here. Raphael, hop on in, man. Raphael? Mr. Raphael.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking me.
Hmm.
Man, I'm listening to you this morning, and I got to say, like, I'm from Haiti. I truly like you. I mean, that movie to Saint Louverture, I will always have mad respect for you.
Hmm.
But there is a but about your subject today.
Go ahead.
One thing, uh, the African right now, these people are too busy taking care of themselves. I mean, there is an evolution that took place in Africa, especially the last 2 years, where leaders like Ibrahim Traore, all those leaders, they realize like, hey, we don't need other people help, and give Putin credit, because Putin was the first person to tell those African leaders, guys, I'm gonna start treating you as equal. When you come to Russia, do not, when you go somewhere else in America, in France, they pack you like several, they take 5 6 presidents, they put you on a bus. He says like, do not accept that, and you're gonna come to Russia, and I'm gonna treat you the same treatment I have for Macron, for Trump. You guys gonna have the same treatment, and I'm gonna need you guys to conduct yourself as a president and not as a beggar. So right now that thing really resonates. And you see in Africa now, you got a group of young leaders. These people do not, these people are not beggars. I mean, like you can see Abraham Traore when he came to Russia, he said, hey, I'm not asking you for anything. What I need you to do for me is the same education you have. Allow our people to come and get that education and come to Africa with us and teach us and let us have those things.
Hmm.
And that thing really start working. I think that's going along with you. But that's a little tangent.
Yeah.
The thing I really want to ask you is the Black American dream. Like you don't like when, like I'm from Haiti.
Right.
That dream is also my dream. But the reason I'm calling you is because I did a little research and I want to take, I want to hear your take. I'm not gonna challenge you. I will hear you tell me a few things.
Right.
I'm gonna bring you a few leaders. Uh, W. E. Du Bois is Haitian origin. Uh, Marcus Garvey, Jamaica. Stokely Carmichael, Trinidad.
Mhm.
Because I look for the Caribbean people so I can have your take. Hubert Henry Harrison, St. Croix. Claude McKay, Jamaica, Cyril Briggs, that mean it is from the island. So and then we're gonna take Belafonte, is from Jamaica, and Malcolm X is from the island. And and if you take Louis Farrakhan is from the island. So what I want you to do, what I would like to hear from you is how these people do you exclude them from that American dream, from that Black American struggle, that Black American dream, the contribution, or how you see that?
Oh,
I'm gonna listen to you.
yeah, slow down, because y'all bring up Malcolm. Malcolm's dad is foundational Black American. His mother was from Caribbean, but Malcolm is foundational Black American. W.B. Du Bois, foundational Black American. There's rumors that he had one parent of somebody who was from Saint Domingue. But from my studies, W.B. Du Bois was FBA, has FBA lineage. Some of these other people, a lot of these other people, they really didn't have too much of a cultural impact in America like that with us because we have our own foundation. And I'm not saying that to denigrate and diminish them. Like Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines, I idolize them. I'm not Haitian at all, but I idolize what they did. They did some fly shit. They put in some work. I give credit where credit is due. So they were influential to me as a foreigner who I don't have no ties to Haiti, but I can respect people's culture. I can respect certain parts of people's history without trying to claim it. And we just ask the same. You can respect some of our icons. You can respect some of our leaders. You can respect some of our writers without trying to say this is and then you niggas are all the same. We are all the same. No, no. Give props what props are due. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I have no problem. Ibrahim Torre, I don't have a problem with him. I like what he's doing. I hope he does great things. I hope he keeps on keeping on. I hope that it starts a movement throughout Africa so people can put some of those tribal differences together and all get on code like that, brother. So I'm fully in support of Brother Ibrahim over there. I like what he's doing. I just hope he don't get finessed by Russia. I hope he don't get in the trick bag with Putin. So I would like to see other African nations lock in with him. All right. Spock, what's up, Spock? Mr. Spock ain't saying nothing. Let me get Brainiac. Is it Brainia or Brainia? Brainiac or Brainia? Brainia?
I would like to know why are you so disillusioned? Why people nigga,
What?
What kind of accent you got, sweetie? I don't know what you're saying, dear. Why'd I do what? Brain?
why are you so delusional?
About what, ma'am?
Ain't this the tranny?
Is she a oh Brain, are you a Mr. Sister?
No,
Huh?
Okay, Lord. Okay, you using your man and your woman voice over there?
I just wanna. Why are you so delusional?
Okay, why are you using your man voice and your woman voice? If you're a man, that's okay, beloved. It's okay.
I'm not an ant.
Yeah, I hear some whispering, and it sound like you're whispering to yourself.
No, there is no one to whisper myself.
Yes, yes. It's okay if you're Mr. Sister. That's fine. No, I just want. I hear somebody whispering. I hear that person, and it sounds like a tether. Now, are you in like an East Indian? Are you in an East Indian hoe house somewhere? What are you doing? You got one of your customers in there whispering to you. What's going on over there?
No, I don't have any men here.
Now, why come? Ask him to get on the phone. Put him on the phone. Why is he whispering to you,
No, there is nobody whispering of me.
ma'am? I can hear him.
No, there is no one.
Yes, I can hear him, and there's a goosey on his lips. Hey, get your ass on the
No,
phone. Get your ass on the phone, dude. Why you got this woman saying all this weird shit? No, no, get off this woman, dude. Get your must ass on the phone.
well, you're just so delusional.
Okay. And she can't even talk. I mean, get your mail order bride on the phone. You get on the phone, dude. How you hiding behind your mail order bride that you paid $8 for, nigga? Get out of here.
I can dig it. I'm on my way.
Where you going, Rootwork Jones?
There's some musty suckers on the streets. I got to go handle that. I got to split, baby. Can you dig it?
When you need to clean the stank off the streets, you don't call your mama, you call Rootwork Jones. Rootwork Jones is a stone cold dude that keeps the stanky suckers shaking in their boots.
Listen up, chumps. I'm looking for Dolomus. Can you dig it?
Rootwork Jones is getting down to the nitty gritty, taking on the mustiest sucker in the city.
Dolomust is my name, and staying good and musty is my game. Where is Rootwork Jones?
This is a super soul brother getting rid of the stank. And you can for sure take that to the bank.
Take that, you musty jive turkeys.
When Rootwork Jones is not dealing with drama, he finds time to deal with foxy mamas.
Why don't you come on over here and give me some of that root work, sugar?
Rootwork Jones. He's bold. He's bad. And he's keeping the suckers musty mad. Rootwork Jones coming to a theater near you. Go to rootworkstyle.com.